Hello, you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to another edition of our weekly podcast down at the Historical Society at the Ruby Doo Row. Today we are discussing the Gettysburg Address. Yesterday was the 157th anniversary. And so the question becomes, how did the Civil War affect St. Joseph? What role did it play? What was the who, how, where, when, and whys of the Civil War in St. Joseph? So Daniel is here, my buddy in crime, to help fill in the mystery.
Thanks so much, Brooke. So the Civil War in St. Joe is an interesting story, actually. So it started with an incident that occurred in 1861 by a man named John Bittinger. Bittinger was actually the new postmaster who was actually put in that post by Abraham Lincoln. And on the day he became postmaster, he decided to raise a U.S. flag over the post office, which seems logical to us. But a group of Southern sympathizers in town didn't like that, went and tore down the flagpole, and basically just were a raucous mob going around town, tearing down flag after flag to get rid of them because they didn't agree with the flag.
Yeah, and this location where the old postmaster was on 2nd and Francis. So just to kind of give you an idea of where this was located, there was about 150 plus. Was that right?
Yeah, that's about right. And the numbers are obviously a little hard to know because no one's taking pictures or specifically saying, well, yeah, I was there. People didn't raise their hands and say that. But one of my favorite effects of this is the city hall or city council basically decided no flags at all. No matter if you were flying an American flag, a Confederate flag, the flag of the Irish, nobody was allowed to have a flag for multiple months right after that.
Yeah, a few months before that, in January, the city council got together and they had a vote on banning all flags because they wanted to stay neutral. And how did that turn out, right?
Well, yeah, it was, the flags didn't go up, if that's what we're talking about. But in June that same year, so we're talking a month later, or not even a month later necessarily, we're talking a couple weeks later, the U.S. Union troops sent a group of dragoons and the 2nd Iowa Infantry to St. Joseph to basically keep the peace. So they show up, but by late July, they got reassigned. General Sterling Price was attacking up through central Missouri, and so they were reassigned to go help defend Missouri from that. And apparently they thought the best way to defend a city of, roughly 15, 20,000 people at the time was to leave 2 recruiting officers to defend the entire town. So, of course, the Confederate militia wants to take advantage of this because they left 2 soldiers here. Big town, 2 soldiers defending it. So the Confederate militia comes in, basically just loots the city for 2 straight weeks, takes about what they say is about 25 total wagons worth of product, and just leaves. Just heads back south. The U.S. troops return. They've left, and basically they just took whatever they wanted.
Yeah, so this was a time frame where neighbor was turning against neighbor. We had business partners dissolving. There were families that were literally divided between North and the South. And then coupled on top of that, you have a group come in and literally raid your town, take all of your wares.
Exactly. So, of course, the Union has to respond because town just got raided. So they send in Colonel Robert Smith and the 16th Illinois. So what makes Robert Smith special is he actually ended up not leaving for a while. He actually set up a fort or a camp up on Prospect Hill, which is still there today. It's actually an earthenware fort that was designed to overlook the entire Missouri River. He also declared martial law, which lasted for the next 4 years. So as part of martial law, he actually forced all Southern sympathizers to sign an oath of allegiance. And if they didn't, they were made to actually construct the fort that was going to defend the city from them.
Yeah, and you had also mentioned that during this martial law period, which lasted about 4 years, you had to have a little piece of paper to get in and out of the city.
Yeah, exactly. They added passes to move around the city. Basically, if you wanted to do anything during that era and you were not a union supporter, you weren't allowed to. And other than just working on the construction of the fortress, after the fort was built, which is Fort Smith, and if you guys want to check it out, I think it's closed for the season this year, but next spring definitely head up to the top of Prospect Hill. They got some great stuff that's up there. But basically, you would also be fined, thrown in jail. I know Mary Alicia Owens, or the Owens sisters' father, was one of those that was affected by that. It was all over town. And basically, they just defended the town. They tried to make sure that the town was taken care of. I've heard there's a story that claims that at one point they were doing practice shots and shot over the city accidentally with a live shot. So the local government, assuming that the fort had fallen, went to the fort to basically welcome in the new leaders because they wanted to stay neutral and wanted to be a trading port. They didn't care who was in the fort. Yeah. They wanted to be neutral. So they went to basically say, okay, I guess we're a Southern city now, only to find out that that didn't actually mean anything, that they were just testing and didn't realize they had a live shot.
And the reason why it was so difficult for St. Joseph to be neutral, which was what the city officials really wanted to do, was because we were a transportation hub at that time. We had the railroad, that was a big thoroughfare. And also commercially speaking, it was a hub commercial center. So it was impossible not to be enveloped by this.
Exactly. And so the city, as much as it tried to be a neutral site between both sides. You know, obviously, technically they were always under the union control except for that 2-week period where the raiding was happening. But they were trying their whole time to stay as this neutral site. So I know I had mentioned earlier to you, Brooke, about the pawpaws. I don't know if you want to hear about them anymore or not.
Yes. Now that is so interesting. That's a tree, right?
Yes and no. So the pawpaw tree is a tree, but what I'm talking about is our local militia that was formed. So in 1863, we formed a local militia called the Pawpaws. Now, the funny part of their story is why they got the name the Pawpaws. So there's 2 stories that exist. The first one is that they supposedly hid in pawpaw trees so they didn't have to fight against the Confederate soldiers. The other story is apparently as they were marching into town, because they were all very dirty from marching, a local man walked up and said, "What have you guys been doing?" And one of their soldiers responded, "What do you think we've been doing? Picking pawpaws?"
Those are very 2 different stories. One is like, no, I'm not going to fight. And the other one is, you know, I am fighting and being crass.
Exactly. So, and who knows where this name came from? It literally could have just been what they called themselves. You know, they use that all the time. So that was the local militia. And obviously that for the next couple of years, it was kind of, they were still doing trade. The city didn't change hands at all. It was not, I don't want to say relative peace, but at the same time, there was no more infighting in St. Joe. Though we did have about 2,000 men that came from the Buchanan County St. Joseph region that joined the Union Army, and almost an exact amount, same amount, joined the Confederate Army. So you kind of had that split in history of them going either way.
And I know that there was a little bit of financial recovery that the city had to undergo, but we were able to manage to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it did take a while. Normally people say it took about 20 years for the St. Joseph to recover because it was such a large commercial region. So it took them a while to recover, but they did eventually recover. And if you look into a lot of the stuff, especially that we have here at the Row, about that Victorian era that came after that, they were kind of the forefront in a lot of that Victorian era concepts. We want to tell you, like we said, a little bit about the Civil War and its impact on St. Joe. I know you can actually go around town, and there's actually some historical markers down by the Pony Express that cover a lot of information we covered today, and a little bit about what it was like here. I mean, there's a couple other stories that talk about the Pony Express riders and how some of them joined opposite sides of the story. But I just want to give you a little taste of what, the Civil War was here in St. Joe. So, Brooke, do we have anything special coming up in the near future?
Please do keep in mind, we have magnets for sale. They're $5. We just got another new batch in of our mascot, the beaver, Beulah the beaver. So please come down, check that out.
Yeah, like Brooke said, we do have, of course, the Joseph Reebok magnets, which we'll put up here on the screen. These ones are custom made for us by our friends over at Idea Man. These are great. And then we also, like she said, just brought out some very special beavers. Now, granted, there's only 8 of these. So if you want one of these, I'm serious. There are 8 of them. And they look just like this. They are the cutest little beaver. They can go in your fridge. And, you can represent the row through its beavers and all the great stuff that Joe did with beavers here in the area. But again, there are 8. And I want to make that very important. There are 8 of those that we have. So definitely come by, come and get those. Come check out some of our great stuff we have from Cat Designs. I know she keeps bringing by some great paintings. We also do have some great stuff from our friends over at Moonlight Leather. And then we actually recently got some new items put in by a special person that's on this podcast. Brooke, you want to talk a little about those?
Yes, I have a few photographs down at the row that are available for sale. So please come on down for that. And one other topic is Giving Tuesday.
Yes. So we're going to talk a lot more about it next week to really get deep into it. But we are going to be doing Giving Tuesday this year. It is December 1st, 1st, I believe. It's the first Tuesday of December. So my dates might be off. But definitely, we want you guys to check out the website and the Facebook. We're going to have some giving opportunities on both of those. We're going to, it's to help support what we're doing here, to support what we're doing as a mission of the row, and also to help keep the doors open, and so we can create some of the great new exhibits that we're planning right now for you guys, for you to see. We are going to start doing some videos in the upcoming months, showing you some of the transitions we do, what we do, the behind the scenes. So if you want to see those behind the scenes, definitely join us on Giving Tuesday.
We're also going to be doing some Christmas decorating. So give us a vote if you'd like to see a picture of Daniel get up on the ladder, up on the roof.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But definitely, yeah, if you want to see some Christmas decorations, we're going to be putting those up soon. So definitely do come and check those out. Of course, like we said, we have about a month and a half before we close for the season. So if you're wanting to get your last taste of what the row's doing, some of the exhibits we have right now that not are necessarily going to go away, but might be rotating out for some other stuff, definitely swing by and see us and check out what we're doing here. And, just come and talk to us, come chat with what's going on. And if you guys have any specific subject matters you guys want to see in the upcoming year, definitely let us know down here in the comments. Let us know what you're interested in, who you're interested in learning about. We can definitely do some more of those series on the people of St. Joe. We have some funny stories that we found about some of the more interesting characters. And then, of course, definitely do just keep liking. Definitely follow us here on Facebook so we can let you see all the great stuff that's going on. And then, of course, head over to our Instagram and definitely check out some of the images we have over there. Brooke has been taking some great pictures, and we've had parties and different events that have gone on. So come check those out. And Brooke, do you have anything else to let people know today?
Thank you so much for listening today. If there's any topics that you would wish for us to discuss in the future, please do give us a message. Or if you think that you have a story to tell that relates to St. Joe's history, we're always looking for interviewees. So thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you guys so much. And you guys have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you here next week. We are going to do a special edition on Black Friday. So definitely do join us here while you guys are out shopping and you're stuck in the lines at Walmart or Target or wherever you're stuck. Pop out your phone and check out our live stream next week because it'll be right there for you. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.